Welcome back, everybody. This is the Now Morning Show here on TTT. We are also live on Talk City 91.1 FM, on Facebook, and also on YouTube. Just search for us, TTT Live Online, and be part of everything happening now here on TTT. It is time for us to go over to Tobago, and we are going to be chatting with Vanessa Boyce, who is the co-founder and publicity chair, Pink Diamond Society for Ladies. And 2019, they are presenting Mars versus Venus, and it is in commemoration of International Women's Day. The theme for this year, gender balance, for better or for worse. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm very good.
So the event, Mars versus Venus, is today.
Yes, it is today. It's at 5:30 at the Bliss Restaurant and Lounge in Scarborough.
Right, and the theme is gender balance, for better or for worse. So
yes.
What is the expected outcome of this event, and what preparations went into it?
Well, this is an event that the Pink Diamond Society has had. This is our 5th installment. Mars versus Venus is a session where we have panelists and they come in and talk about relationships. We usually have different topics. So this year, when we speak of gender balance, for better or for worse, we are looking at how the changing trends in relationship affecting men and women these days. So we have the trend of the female breadwinner, or the woman in the household might be making more money or is in a more senior position than a man, and how that is affecting relationships. We also have the cougar culture, where we have young men going after older women, and then we have the flip side with the sugar daddy culture, with young women going after older men, and how that is affecting our cultures and so on. So that is what we're going to be discussing.
Now, there are 3 things that you mentioned there, and I want to take them one at a time. The first one would be the woman in the household probably earning more money, holding more power, if I can use that term, in the household. Do you think that is a change for the better or the worse?
Right, exactly. That is what we're going to talk about, because it's not just, sometimes it might start like that, or sometimes it may be a case where the man was the one making more. But, because our economy is changing and some people are getting laid off, this can happen where the woman is now the main breadwinner. And we have a panel of representing different ideas who will talk about how that could affect the relationship and probably how to deal with it.
I mean, it's always good if both parties are making money, but if the woman is making more, I mean, that is not necessarily a bad thing from where I sit, because if the woman is making and the man is making, at least you can put it together because you're living together, you're married, if you have kids, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
That is true. I don't see it as a bad thing either, but there are people who would not be comfortable in a situation like that.
Yeah, this masculinity that we need to have.
Yes.
But then you also mentioned women who go for sugar daddies.
Yes. I remember seeing a program on television in the US where that is something that a lot of girls look for. They look for someone who's older, who has money to help them to go to school, pay for their university bills, and make sure they have all the best designer outfits and make sure that they're looking good, because that is a life they want to live.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, sometimes...
I'm not saying that these are bad things. These are just topics that are now reality for us that we want to discuss. They will be good and bad for different people. So we just want to see how they affect relationships.
I mean, if you're getting something out of it, you might as well, right? that sounds like a really interesting conversation. But then you have the flip side where you have the younger men going after the older women, as we call them, cougars. This is something that we see very often.
Yes, we do. And there are different reasons why some men would prefer a mature woman. Some men prefer the conversation, or they just prefer to have that kind of... I guess somebody just like a safety net, so that if anything happens, they have someone who's there, who's strong in the relationship to help them along.
Wow, I'm thinking that's interesting. I wonder if my colleagues ever thought about that. Getting an older woman, a cougar, That is an interesting conversation, and I think, it's something that we'll touch more on. But as relates to this event, it is today for
5:30.
Yeah, 5:30.
At this restaurant and lounge in Scarborough.
And there is a contribution that people are asked to make?
Yes, it's a fundraising activity for the society, so we are asking for a contribution of $50.
For the contact information?
Yes, they can contact me at 380-3261 to collect tickets, or you can pay at the door.
And what do you think or expect people can take away from this event?
I think they would really see the different panelists giving their views. I could probably touch a little bit. We have 4 panelists. There are 2 young persons, 2 mature persons, 2 married persons, 2 single persons. So we're getting different views, and we have someone who is a minister of the gospel, so she will be given a probably more religious side. Then we have someone who's a trained counselor. And then we have a businesswoman. She owns her own enterprise. That's Alicia Riley. She was actually on this program a few weeks or a few months ago. Then we have a young man who's going to give his young man's side as somebody who, was involved in sports. He's a business person, and he will give the more real, on-the-ground responses.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a really fantastic event, and I'm hoping that we can have more conversations like these, because these things are real. So hopefully, moving forward, we would be able to chat a little bit more about this. Thank you very much, Vanessa Boyce, co-founder and publicity chair, Pink Diamond Society for Ladies. They have an event taking place at 5:30 p.m. Bliss Restaurant and Lounge, a contribution of $50. It's called Mars vs. Venus 2019. The theme, gender balance for better or for worse. So once again, thank you very much, Vanessa Boyce, for joining us via Skype from Tobago.